This video is for learning target 6-2. I can write a fraction as a decimal. Now, writing a fraction as a decimal is usually pretty easy, but before we talk about how we do it, we first need to talk about a few fractions that you should know by heart. When you see that fraction, you should immediately know what the decimal is. The first one is 1/2, and you probably already know that 1/2 is 0.5. Thirds are also really important to know. 1/3 is 0.3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and it keeps going on forever, and we're going to talk about that kind of a decimal on the next slide. 2/3 is the same idea, but it's 0.6666, and it keeps going. Fourths are also really important to know. Now, you probably already know these because another name for fourths is quarters, and we've all dealt with money before. Well, how much is 1/4 worth? It's worth 25 cents. So 1/4 as a decimal is 0.25. And 2/4 is worth 0.5, and 3/4 is worth 75 cents, so it's 0.75. Fifths are also pretty easy to remember. Fifths just go by 0.2. So 1/5 is 0.2, 2/5 is 0.4, 3/5 is 0.6, and 4/5 is 0.8. So those are the fractions that you should definitely know by heart. You should see those, and right away you should be able to convert those into decimals. Now we'll talk about how you take a fraction you don't know and convert it into a decimal. There's two cases that might happen. The first is called a terminating decimal. The word terminate means end, so we're getting a decimal here that stops at some point. The process is very easy. Just take a calculator and do the numerator divided by the denominator. Fractions are really just a form of division. So once we get used to fractions really just being division, we know that we can get a calculator, do 11 divided by 20, and we get 0.55. This decimal is called terminating because it ends. There are no more digits after this. This is the entire thing. So it terminates. The other type of decimal we might get when we convert a fraction to a decimal is called a repeating decimal. When we take the fraction 11/15 and we follow the rule I just said, just grab a calculator and do 11 divided by 15. Our calculator says 0.733333, and it goes all the way to the edge of the screen. What this means is that this 3, the digit that's a 3, is going to repeat forever and ever. So what we do to write that, so we don't have to write it all the way across our page, is we write the number till we get to the decimal or the decimals that repeat. Sometimes it's more than one. And when we get to the decimal that repeats, we put a line over it. That tells us that that decimal goes on forever. And that's how we leave it. Here's an example of another repeating decimal when we convert it from a fraction. 12/99. When you do 12 divided by 99 in your calculator, you get 0.1212, and so on. So in this case, when we write this as a repeating decimal, we put the bar over the 1 and the 2 because both of them repeat. And that's how you turn a fraction into a decimal.